So I think I'll start from why people think addiction is a shameful thing. I stand to be corrected, but I came to a point where I believe that everybody, every human being is addicted to something.
No, but when it's good, it doesn't seem like it's an addiction, This is Behind the High. It's a podcast that unveils and unmasks everything about addiction, entertainment, pop music, street music, rap, and then the connection between all of this I'm hearing. Now, what is behind the high? And what is the high? Of course, it's not just about drugs, it's also about addiction. Generally, everything that makes you high. And so the beauty about, the good thing about this podcast is it gives you an experiential understanding about addiction, not from the therapeutic point of view, but from the experiential point of view. In other words, we take you right into the rehab. What happens? How do you help people get out of addiction? What exactly does the therapist do? And what happens to you after all the so-called therapy and treatment? That is what this conversation is all about. Now, at the heart of this are young people who need to live a new life, and parents who need to understand how this life should be. So, if you don't know any other podcast that you need to tune to when you want to understand addiction, then this is it, Behind the Heart. I'm not alone. Now, I have Lubem Ajiva as my co-host. So we're both on this journey together. So you're going to be seeing us regularly. So get used to our fine face. All right. So today, which is our first episode, we're hoping that you will subscribe and share this content and spread it as much as possible. We want to be able to help parents, family, young people who are struggling with one addiction or the other, particularly drug addiction and substance addiction. Okay? Right away, Lubem.
Yes, sir.
Now, why is addiction a shameful thing? Why is it, or rather, why do people get into addiction in the first place? Now, we know that the journey begins and then it gets into addiction. And then that is a world that people really don't understand. Not many people understand now. Yeah. Can you give us an insight into what this world is all about?
So I think I'll start from why people think addiction is a shameful thing.
Right.
Because of my experience with drug addiction and everything, I just came to a point, I stand to be corrected, but yes. I came to a point where I believe that everybody, every human being is addicted to something. Right?
Yes. Yes or yes.
I mean,
yes.
You can check Google and Google will tell you addiction is but my own definition of addiction is simply something you cannot do without every day. And it mustn't be a bad thing. Okay, some people cannot do without praying. In that sense, that's an addiction.
No, but when it's good, it doesn't seem like it's an addiction,
Do you get?
Like
so
today,
that's
we met a child
addiction,
who is addicted to reading.
Yes.
And she has accepted it.
It's an addiction. But addiction is a shameful thing because the only time it is being used, it is when it
has a negative connotation.
Yes. Yeah. And to me, addiction is just something you cannot do without. Some people are addicted to work. Some people are addicted to their phones. Some people are addicted to food.
Yes.
Right? So that's why addiction is a shameful thing. But when somebody now gets to the point where
it is a vice,
they can now not do without taking drugs or smoking or something.
Alcohol,
it now
sex.
Becomes, yes.
But once it's a vice, then that's such an addiction, we can't openly accept it.
Yes.
It's like someone saying, man, if I don't have sex in a day, I feel die.
That kind of thing.
That is
it's an addiction.
That is crazy.
It's an addiction.
So drug addiction, of course, if addiction itself is If addiction itself is bad, obviously drug addiction is an extreme part of addiction.
Yes.
And so talk to us about the shame of addiction, and let's connect with it. The shame of drug addiction, and why people would rather die taking drugs than come out and say, please, I need help.
First of all, just like we said, people are afraid of judgment, especially in this part of the world. I'm not very sure how it is in other parts of the world, but here, when someone is a drug addict, as people just say, they are, in fact, they have judged you before they even know why you got into it, how you got into it, why you are struggling with it. Because people don't seem to understand that addicts are suffering. You know, addiction, drug addiction is the way scientists explained it is that, I mean, when I was in rehab, we had a medical doctor that was an addict. So it means theoretically he knows drugs can kill him.
But he can't.
Why do you think he's still using it? Because there's just that part in your brain that is just, it's as if you don't do this thing, you're going to die. But I can tell you for a fact that more than 90% of addicts know this thing is killing me. My mom had a colleague she has a colleague that is a medical doctor and is a chain smoker. He told my mom that he knows this thing is killing him, but he cannot just stop. You can't explain that kind of thing.
That brings me to one of the things you normally say. You've said a couple of times. Leave the addiction. Focus on what the addict is
struggling with.
So we look at the drug, isn't it? We see the drug
every time,
but we don't see what the drug is addressing. We don't see the pain. Talk to us about that.
Most of the times, addiction is an escape. So addicts are usually suffering from one thing or the other, and the drugs is just an escape. So that's why many times people just come to you and say, oh, we have this person that is struggling with drug addiction. Can you help?
Like we saw today.
I
got a message today, yeah.
Oh, we have this teenager that is struggling with drug addiction, and we need to see you.
Whereas that teenager is escaping
from.
So the conversation should actually be, we have this teenager who has a problem that is escaping through drugs.
Exactly. But people don't. I always tell people that drug addiction is not the problem. I don't know how many times I can say that in drug addiction.
I know, we need to keep saying it.
Drug addiction is, the problem is what brought somebody to the point
of the drug
where they started abusing drugs.
Okay, so
that's the problem.
So let's paint a more graphic picture. So you have a boy who is struggling with studying medicine. Like you had a lot of guys in the rehab who were medical students. So a medical student is having problem with studying medicine. The course was not his choice in the first place. The parents, before he was born, they have decided that a doctor must come out from this family. So the doctor finally arrived, and it happens to be a boy.
My son is a medical doctor.
Exactly. So while he was in nursery school, they've been calling him Dr. Jide, Dr. Emeka.
That kind of
thing. So the boy is now...
Meanwhile, you guys just want to play football.
So he's now 16. He has written JAMB. He has passed his work, and he's been granted admission to study medicine. So he has carried the cross. He has entered the university, and he first day in class like, wow, this is not what... this is not the life. Actually, there's one song, this is the life I chose. There's one song like that. So the guy is like, this is not the life I chose. So, and the next thing, he started depreciating. So the day we're going to see this boy, we saw a drug user. And then they call Lubem. Lubem, please, we have a teenager, or they call Kingsley. Uncle Kingsley, we have a teenager who is
dealing with drug addiction.
So, is that the problem?
That's not the problem.
But can somebody say, we have a teenager who is having problem with his studies, and as a result, he has got into drugs? Is that the right narrative?
That should normally be the right narrative. But the truth is, most times we overlook the events that led up to that whatever is going on, and we just go straight to the drug problem. So that is the major reason why majority of addicts do not come out and ask for help, because they just know that they are
going to be fighting. Okay, and we're fighting the wrong.
Yes, they are not going to try to understand what I'm dealing with. You're just going to judge me as an addict. Another reason they don't come out is because sometimes they themselves, they are confused. Like I said, there was a medical doctor in rehab. So theoretically, he knows that these drugs will kill him.
But
he still cannot do without it. So sometimes they don't come out because they don't understand. I mean, I know this thing is bad, but I am still doing it. Why? They can't explain it. So even they are confused. So that's why most times
they rather just keep to them.
Yes, until they can figure out why they are doing this. And sometimes you cannot. So they just keep doing it.
So if we're going to advise parents now, what should we tell them? If you have a parent who is already at their wit's end, I mean, this child that they've invested so much in,
it was dealing with addiction.
Yes. What should they be discussing rather than running helter-skelter and looking for a rehab?
What they should be discussing, or what they should be trying to do, if a parent has a child that is dealing with addiction or anything like that, I think the first thing they need to do, like we have said before, is to find out what got the child to that point. For me, for example, it was low self-esteem. I grew up in a home where my dad constantly kept comparing me with other children. I'm an introvert normally. So when I was even growing up, it was even worse. Now I'm even a little bit more outspoken because of the kind of work I do.
Maturity, yeah.
Video director, so I have to
engage with people, yeah.
Right?
And besides, you've gone through some capacity building process.
Yeah. But when I was younger, I wasn't doing the things that other children were doing in church, like join the drama unit, join this, join that, So my dad constantly kept comparing me to those children. And so I grew up...
Children who were active, so to speak.
So I grew up having a low self-esteem because I continued to compare myself to those children. And like Josmia said in her book...
Please learn on that.
Josmia said, the danger about the comparison game is that
you always lose.
You never place yourself first. So when you are comparing yourself to,
you don't elevate yourself above the
when you compare yourself to other people, you always put yourself lower than those people.